Original Lectric XP was the king of the budget e-bikes, and the Lectric XP Step-Thru continues that tradition by retaining everything that made the original Lectric XP so great, and just adding a lower frame to make the bike even more comfortable for mounting and dismounting. The beauty of this bike has always been the right set of compromises to maintain a high-performance electric bike at a low price of just $899, and that's with free shipping too. So what do you get with the Lectric XP Step-Thru? Well, it's rocking a 500 watt continuous and 800 watt peak rear motor that is powerful enough to send you up to 28 miles per hour or 45 kilometers per hour with pedal assist, or up to 20 miles an hour or 32 kilometers per hour with throttle only operation. To get to that class 3 top speed of 28 miles an hour, you can pedal pretty hard or you can just lightly spin the pedals. As long as you're in level 5 pedal assist and there's some pedal movement, the bike will take you up to that 28 mile per hour top speed, which is quite fast on such a small vehicle like this. It's definitely a thrill you're going to want to experience. And of course, you can also limit the bike back to 20 miles an hour if you're in a class 2 only jurisdiction. Now I mentioned compromises, and so let's talk about where those fall into the rest of the spec sheet. When it comes to battery capacity, the 500 watt-hour battery is not that large by any reasonable standards, and many other e-bikes these days are well into the 600 or 700 watt-hour range. But even with a somewhat average battery capacity of 500 watt-hours, you still get at least 20 miles of range or 32 kilometers, even if you're riding pretty hard on throttle-only riding. If you give it some real pedal assist, then you can get closer to double that mileage as well. And for most people, that mileage is totally acceptable. I mean, we're talking about leisurely riding here, recreational riding. No one's competing on this bike. Other compromises include the lack of suspension and the entry-level parts like mechanical disc brakes and lower-tier Shimano 6-speed transmission. But you know what? Those compromises are just fine, because those components are all just fine. I mean, they're not premium, and of course, nothing about this bike is premium. But they're all quite good enough for recreational riders that are just looking to have fun and find an e-bike with high value, not necessarily one with top-shelf components. And sure, suspension would be nice, but whenever I see a super cheap suspension fork on a budget-level e-bike, I just wish they'd gone with a rigid fork because I know it's going to be built stronger and last longer. And plus, with these 4-inch fat tires, if you keep the right air pressure and you don't overinflate them, they kind of serve as pseudo-suspension and help absorb some of the bumps in your ride. So there's been a lot of give and take here with the Lectric XP, but keep in mind that for one of the lowest prices in the industry, just $899, this e-bike gives you 28 miles per hour top speed, an 800 watt peak motor, front and rear LED lights, an included rear rack, and front and rear full metal fenders. That's pretty impressive, and that's some real value. And on top of all of that, it's still a folding e-bike too. Now there's nothing that's special about the folding nature of the Lectric XP. It folds pretty similarly to any other folding e-bike. You're going to start up here at the handlebars, pop that sucker open, and then in the middle you've got another folding mechanism. You slide the safety and open that, and then the whole thing will fold in the middle. At that point you've got basically a folded e-bike. Now it's not lightweight. At about 60 something pounds, I'll put it up here on the screen, but it's enough that you can carry it for, short jaunts. So all in all, I think the Lectric XP Step-Thru is pretty much the perfect intro bike for anyone wanting to get into the world of electric bicycles, but that doesn't want to spend $1,000 or more to get extra features or top shelf components that they don't need for casual riding. There's certainly a place for premium e-bikes. I have some myself and I love them. But the value here with the Lectric XP Step-Thru is undeniable. It gives you the functionality of higher-end electric bicycles by maintaining good power, speed, and overall performance, but it strikes a nice balance too in order to keep that performance attainable to the common man. And that's pretty impressive by me.